Hello. What's going on? First and foremost, we got to thank God. Without Him, none of this is possible. Take a second to find something around you that you appreciate. It could be a plant. It could be, just like grass. Like how do these weeds and plants form? I see my bike back there. Love my bike. This bicycle. Take a deep breath. And wake it up. I appreciate you joining me. My name is Brad, if you don't know me. If you do know me, I love you. Thank you for watching this. If you're watching this later, I'll be here every morning. And we slowly wake up. Shake out some of your limbs. Just do a little, shake it out a little bit. And I want you to tap all the way from top of your forehead to eyebrows, cheekbones, jawbones. Come right here below your ears. Don't forget about those temples. Hit the glands below your jaw. Hit the glands right above your collarbones. Go ahead and chop the glands on the back of your head, behind your ears. Just drain some of that shit that's been dormant from the night. You got glands in your chest as well. Go ahead and hit those up. Just all the way down. All the way down. Hips. You got glands in your hips. Thighs. Tap those kneecaps. All the way down to ankles. In and out. Inside, outside. Feet, sees, toes. We feel good, huh? We ready to D. We're gonna dominate today, y'all. I love it. I love it. So, we'll be quick today. We'll be quick. Ain't a whole lot to talk about. We had interesting day yesterday. I mean, just look at some of this action on the SPY here. In the SPY is a S&P index that a lot of traders watch to gauge the market, right? And one thing I look for is which direction had the most aggressive action. This is just something that I like to look at. It's something that my mind can understand of, hey, man, we saw these slow meltdowns, whatever it is, paper-handed weak sellers, people just, freaking out, whatever it is, a nice slow decline here, then aggressive upward action. Aggressive upward action. The day yesterday started with aggressive upward action. Decline, aggressive up. So, and this is a 5-minute chart. But here's our day yesterday. And a lot of names follow this type of movement, right? And one thing, if you don't look at the SPY, one thing you can look at is Apple. because Apple's going to be the top weight on pretty much all your indexes. So how Apple moves it is a lot of the times how that you see these charts look very, very similar. And for the most part, most of these charts, even with the chip makers, is going to look similar as well. To an extent, these are all very similar looking charts, right? Those all look approximately the same to me. And I mean, these are all heavily weighted stocks on a lot of these indexes. They're billion-dollar companies. And so this makes sense, right? These all kind of move in tandem. These kind of move with the market, and they finished positive yesterday. Chip makers in particular. And it's interesting that the chip makers were the highlight of my video yesterday. Not really knowing where the market's going, just knowing that chip makers have lagged some of the other tech names that got nice bid ups, and they did really well yesterday. They did really well. The three I like the most are AMD, Qualcomm, and TSM, all for somewhat separate reasons. I think AMD, I've talked about them a lot. They are really outpacing Intel in the personal computer industry, the gaming industry, the CP gaming industry, and they're also a very strong player and going to continue to earn a lot of the market for cloud storage services. So love AMD. We'll get their first earnings, I believe, the 27th. So not this week, but next week, and that'll be their first earnings post Xilinx merger acquisition. So I'm expecting a big number. I'm expecting good things for AMD. TSM, I love them real quick because they have proprietary silicone wafer technology that all these other chip manufacturers buy from. Even Intel, who manufactures their own silicone wafer chips, buys some chips from TSM because their technology exceeds Intel's as far as conductivity and just somehow the material they have is superior to other companies. And then Qualcomm, because Qualcomm is a leader right now with the 5G Internet of Things. Qualcomm's making a lot of chips for auto manufacturers. Qualcomm's making a lot of chips for cell phones. They're making a lot of chips for these 5G towers that are going to be going up. And I think they'll continue to push that envelope while these other companies continue to push their respective envelopes. So similar industry, but all different. There's a lot of stuff in our economy that these chips are used for, which I talked about yesterday. So that was good. That was good. I was impressed with Bitcoin yesterday. It caught a really nice bid in this run up here to the top, hit 41, and then didn't fall as hard in this decline. Just kind of stayed right around that 40,500 level, and it's holding there nicely pre-market. So we will see how mouse. All right, so this is where we're sitting pre-market on these names. Above yesterday's open, above yesterday's open, above yesterday's open, above yesterday's open. And my sentiment in the stock market is all what is the sentiment of millions of people out there. And we can do our best psychology guess to look at information, to look at data economists and hedge funds are putting out to try and determine what we think the market may be thinking. And one thing that I always note is when investment funds like a Citibank yesterday says that we could see a 30% decline from the March highs on the S&P. I think that's jaw jockeying for better positions on their part. So I tend to look at things from an inverse lens because if you just go by what these investment companies say that these companies Kathy Wood says Tesla's going to 1,100 million. Great, but nobody has a crystal ball. And I just tend to be an inverse thinker, independent, and I try to gauge where the retail sentiment may be. And I think it's strong with chip makers. AMD has a lot of fans out there. Apple has a lot of fans out there. Tesla has a lot of fans out there. Tesla was this is a very similar pre-market to what we had yesterday, right? Tesla was our only green yesterday. Everything else was red. We had a very volatile day. If you're a day trader, this is good. If you're a long-term investor, you like to see the finish in the open today a little bit ahead of where we were yesterday. And in my opinion, this can be a trend that I'm looking for a little bit of continuation on. I'm looking for possibly a slow melt up from here. It could get volatile, but ultimately I think we can head in a upward direction. We're starting to get positive data. Now, Johnson & Johnson reported today. They forecasted down. They've had shitty vaccine sales. I guess nobody's getting the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. But, fuck Johnson & Johnson. Hang tight. So just take the guessing out of investing. Take the guessing out. Expand your time frame to long term. Find good companies, and start small. Start small. Average in a little bit every other week. Every payday. Take a little 50 piece. And go buy something. Go in a company you like. So, let's look at the futures. Go ahead and tune in. Let's tune in, tune up. Cheers. Futures. Pretty sure we are close to break even on a lot of these. If it'll open, there we go. And this is where I look at my futures. Yahoo Finance. Good old Yahoo. And we've been talking about some of these levels for a while. So, we've been talking about 1400 on the NQ and 4400 on the ES, which the NQ is the NASDAQ futures. The ES is the S&P futures. What is this? And crude oil is a tick down. Natural gas is a tick down. One thing we've got to watch today is America. A bunch of the world leaders are meeting today, led, I believe, by a call from the French Prime Minister to limit Russian oil purchases. Now, if something like this happens, I expect a pop of this number. Natural gas hit $8 yesterday. This hit an 8 handle yesterday. Crazy. The freaking 10-year yields are like 2.8. I mean, some of these yields on these bonds are approaching the 3%. It's just ridiculous. Ridiculous. So I mean, it's the curve is not inverted, but it's steep and it's rising. It's definitely elevated, and now that's not really something I've ever looked at as a trader, but it's just something I'm aware of right now, as a lot of these economists and these banks are have at least just said the R word. I don't think that comes to fruition, but we'll see how bad these supply chains, and we'll see how bad inflation gets. Now, I expect inflation to remain elevated for sure. 100% inflation is going to be, at least on paper, at least the numbers that pop up are going to be high, because you're comparing year over year. And then when we get into 2023, that's when they should, you know, level off and at least appear normal, because they've already been so elevated this year that they're not going to jump another 8% up next year. So I expect to kind of ride this out, and hopefully things are leveling off in 2023. We're getting some positive reports. One earnings to watch today is gonna be Netflix. I believe Netflix has after hours earnings tonight, and Netflix is been beaten down. They're almost 50% down. I believe they're about 40% off the highs. Up from 700s. So you see where it's at now, and it's at the lows, and that was the message yesterday. Was these stocks are at lows for the year. Some of these stocks are at 2-year lows. I bet Netflix wasn't even 335 at all last year. Let's see when the last time Netflix was this low. Beginning of 2020. So, I mean, Netflix in a year from around this time, about the same spot, which is crazy. Anyways, we ain't gonna be too long today. Just tune in. Tune in with yourself. Tune in with your surroundings. Control what you can control. I tend to get easily caught up in headlines, to get caught up in news, to get caught up in politics, but I try to view it through a lens of how can I take any information that I come in contact with and use it to benefit myself or maybe someone around me. And that just feels like the appropriate approach, because there's a lot of shit in this world that you can't change, that you won't ever be able to change, that you can hate with all your heart, but it will never make a difference. And so you've got to be able to take a deep breath, look at things for how they are, and then determine if that's something that needs to be discarded from the brain, or if it's something that you can get an idea for something. Like electric vehicles. That's, the fact that somebody could take a metal and learn how, and figure out an idea how to use certain kinds of metals to store electrical currents is mind-blowing to me. And I just appreciate ideas. I appreciate uh, life. I appreciate the small things, and I have hope. I have hope. Um, I'm an optimist, and that's it. That's it. So I hope y'all have the best day. Um, Beautiful day here in the southeast. It looks like, and you know, if you're watching this and you're able to invest any money into any stock or any crypto, um, know how blessed you are. Know how blessed you are to have any money left over to invest and save for your future self. And continue doing that. Continue. Now, it's gambling is an interesting topic, right? A lot of if you're day trading, you're gambling. If you're sports betting, that's gambling. It's you're placing a bet, a wager that you have an expectation, and I guess long-term investing is a gamble as well. But the long-term time frame definitely allows a lot more wiggle room than just a 90-minute game or a 7-hour day type of trade can offer. And it just takes out a lot of guesswork to where if you can just understand, hey, Apple is going to be selling iPhones in 20 years. Then all of a sudden this price starts to look good. So just had to see where today goes. Things are looking like they're popping up, but again, I don't love green pre-market. I just don't. I think it gives traders an opportunity to go short, and I get I tend to get a little bit of cold feet when the market's too good. When the market's too good, that's when I get afraid. Now, right now, we're still at the lows. I mean, you've seen the futures. They're not above levels that I want to be above yet. We're still below 100 on AMD, below 140 on Qualcomm, below 100 on TSM, below 2600 on Google, below 125 on Square, below. Apple seems to be kind of fairly evaluated right now, but they had one of the strongest run-ups in history of their company. So, JP Morgan and the banks did really well yesterday. And this is one we got to watch, and this is to be expected. I think the banks in a lot of stocks, like, transportation stocks, XPO has been hit, and a lot of transportation stocks have been hit. Zim was hit hard. Zim did really well yesterday, and I think banks in these transportation stocks were hit hard due to the fact that people were hearing that R word a little too much, and they were thinking demand destruction is going to be an immediate thing, and that's just not the case. A lot of the now maybe things happen a little faster in 2022 than they did in '08 or any previous market crashes, but effects are delayed. typically. So, and then we're starting to get good guidances from these companies. We're getting decent earnings. We've got Snapchat this week. We've got Netflix tonight. We've got a chip maker later in the week, ASML. Don't know much about them. I just know they're a semiconductor. And we've got some chip makers next week. So we're coming into a big Q2 earnings, and so far, JP Morgan guided higher, Bank of America guided higher. They're all saying that consumers are willing to spend right now, and demand destruction has not happened yet. So we could take that information and we can try to use it to say, hey, short term, the demand has been so backed up that it's still catching up. It's still churning itself out. It's still everything that's produced is already sold for the rest of this year, pretty much. Every car that's manufactured is sold. Every semiconductor that's manufactured is sold. Every tractor truck that's manufactured this year is sold. So, I guarantee you it's hard to get like a John Deere tractor right now. Some of those things. The aluminum supply chain is backed out this year. You can't even get a custom aluminum build till 2023 or later. So, economy should be all right. And we'll go from there. But I'm sticking with my hat in the chip maker ring. I'm sticking with my hat in the Bitcoin ring. And that's really all I care about at the moment. Banks and transportation are the other two industries that I just, I like to watch. I could possibly invest in. Travel could get a bump. Delta just got rid of the mask mandate yesterday. So I would guess that Delta is probably rocking. Airbnb's up pre-market, so that's a travel name that's up. Delta's up 1.5% almost, so Carnival's up. So yeah, some of your travel names are all right now. American Express, if interest rates go up and consumers need to take on some debt. And then Netflix earnings tonight. So alright, y'all. I gotta go to work, and I will be back tomorrow. So even if you are checking this out later on, God bless. Take a couple deep breaths. Just shake out some of those ligaments in the body. Make sure you take a second to relax and become aware of your thoughts, become aware of your surroundings, and understand what makes you happy, and understand what fruit you can produce in life, and always give the glory to God. Always give thanks. Always be praying. Always be in a thankful, appreciative, optimistic mindset. And strive to have autonomous control over your health and your wealth. And I'll bid you adieu on that. So, much love.